I've made a video before about visions and the possible theory that they could be surveillance material from Celestia to not only the people, but generally it connects something to Gnosticism and their overall ascension, which is technically true because Allegenes are made to ascend into Celestia, and even that's a question mark. But today I want to talk about the vision wielders themselves. What are the possible criteria and what makes a person, quote unquote, capable of wielding a vision? And I want to ask that because visions seem to be one of the most inconsistent things, and even the characters point this out, that visions don't really seem to have a criterion in the eyes of the characters. And honestly, just looking from the lore of it all, I kinda agree. Even the Archons themselves are very dismissive when it comes to asking for a vision. Venti is the only one that tells us that, hey, the visions here are meant to see who can ascend to Celestia. And even that's really questionable given what we already know from Celestia and the fact that they might not be as benevolent as we assume. So today, instead of focusing on a more theoretical side, I want to ask about the vision wielders. So let's begin. First is that the demographic or the race of the person that's wielding the vision isn't completely set in stone. We know that visions are given by a higher entity than the Archons because the Archons themselves don't give the visions, which means that subsequently anyone that's lower than an Archon, because Archons use Gnosis according to Venti, might be able to get a vision and might even require a vision in order to control the elements. Besides humans, we know that people that aren't human can also get the visions. Klee is said to be a race that has longevity, which means immortals can also get visions, which is questionable. Xiao, Ganyu, and Yanfei all have visions, but they're half adepti or full adepti in Xiao's case. Another case is Albedo, which Albedo is not a human, but he was given a vision and treated as though he were humanity, so maybe anything with sentience can be given visions. Another one is Yai. Yai is a kitsune and not necessarily pure human either. I would say that she's kind of a hybrid, quote unquote, also with the same lineage as someone like Ito. Ito's an Oni, meaning that his lifespan is questionable, but it seems that even though you're an immortal or you're someone with a long life that expands beyond humanity, you can also get a vision. Anthropomorphic races can also get visions. Sucrose, Diona, Goro, they can get visions too, so it's not limited to just humanity. So what's going on actually? I think anyone under the Archons would be eligible for a vision, and if you get into a higher status than, well, the Archons, you would be given a Gnosis, I think. Well, if I had to guess, basically anyone that has a form of sentience can be given a vision if deemed so by the gods, which actually kind of makes sense if I think about it. If there's already a higher entity that's giving the Gnosis to the Archons, and Venti himself says that Archons use Gnosis because visions are archaic, then that person might also be responsible for giving visions, and whoever that person is in charge of the ascension process. So demographic aside, next we go into what actually constitutes a moment to get a vision. A lot of people say that the moment to get a vision is when your ambition is at the highest. And to that I say it's a really questionable thing. The consistency of that statement is relatively unremarkable because you have characters that are either on the brink of death and dying and about to clutch on their final life strings, and you have Ningguang that it's just a Saturday morning and you're just chilling and you're about to sell your vision actually, and then it just lights up and ruins your entire economic plan. Do you see what I mean? The consistency of a vision lighting up or a vision being given to the person is really inconsistent. But whatever it is, it's given to a person with a strong ambition or has dreams. Maybe they don't have ambitions towards the vision themselves, but they have ambitions elsewhere, meaning that as long as you're a sentient creature with ambitions and the capability to build on those ambitions, you are eligible for a vision. You don't need to use the vision, but it's just there. And moving on to that, we don't know what a vision really does for the person. Yes, elemental control is very nice, but if you consider the actual impacts of a vision to the person's ambition, which it's supposed to be connected to, you're kind of in a lose-lose situation. Yes, you can control the elements, but there's a chance that if that vision disappears from you or is tampered by another stronger entity, you could probably lose your entire morality. Now, but we do know that not all characters undergo this kind of phase when they lose their vision. So what's going on? Does that mean that even if a vision is lost, the ambition itself, if it's strong enough, doesn't disappear altogether? And if that's the case, wouldn't that just mean that the person that loses the vision but doesn't lose themselves should be rewarded more for their actions and promptly allowed by Celestia to ascend further, rather than the person with a vision and depends only on that vision? Also, what about entities that can already control the elements but have their vision taken away? Xiao, again, is a really weird case in my opinion, because it's hinted that the Vigilant Yaksha has control over the elements even beyond the vision. So what's the point of giving him the vision, unless it's for surveillance reasons? And not to mention that just because a person has strong ambition doesn't mean that they're eligible for a vision. Some NPCs aren't given the time of day by the gods, and it's a really unfortunate thing, but then what's the actual criteria here? Why aren't they given a vision, and why are some characters, like some PCs that are just chilling in life, given the visions in the first place? So that means that maybe ambition isn't the complete story. So the next thing I want to ask is, what's the criteria of the personality themselves? Because there's a lot of themes. If you look at the Animo characters, and you look at the Geo characters, and you look at the Hydro characters, they do form a consistent kind of not only power sets, but also their personalities. For example, for Animo, some of them have the theme of freedom in their kits, but just reflected differently. Not to mention the theme of a dead friend. For Geo, it's diligence, hard work, and something along those lines. For Hydro, it seems like they just go for the book nerds. It's justice, it's courage, it's service to the public, or at the same time, it's chivalry. And I would even argue that the vision wielders have a lot of reference to the archons of their respective element. This also carries over to the fact that after the Vision Hunt Decree, there aren't any new Electro Visions that are currently being given out. We currently don't have a Dendro Vision besides Baiju. So if I had to guess, the person or entity, or whatever that thing is in the sky, that's doing or giving the vision, somehow, some way also relates it to the respective element of the archon. Or maybe the person or the thing that's giving it away is using the archon currently as their basis or personal criteria of which element goes where. For example, if A herself feels like she's being shut in, or she is reclusing herself from the rest of the world, not to mention that the Vision Hunt Decree means that she herself doesn't believe that visions should be given to the public, and it just happens as a response. I don't personally know either. And the last thing that I want to talk about is, what about the reawakening of visions? Mona's vision was given to her by her master, and it was just an empty shell. Same goes for Ningguang. But we do know that visions can be revived in a way if they resonate with the respective owner. I feel like visions have something to do with fate itself. And I feel like just because it was an empty shell when it went to Mona or Ningguang, the vision itself was always meant to be theirs. It was just going to turn on at an opportune time. I don't doubt that everything in Genshin Impact all ties back into fate. I mean, the wishes that we make are called intertwined and acquaint fates, and destiny is an important role in this story. So maybe visions also tie in with an opportune time in a person's life where their ambitions are the highest, or they're beginning their journey into a kind of change. Is it a consistent explanation? No, we're actually just going to need to be patient and see what constitutes a good vision wielder and why are they being given certain elements. But nevertheless, this video was actually just a pure discussion, no research whatsoever on my end, because I am planning to do a proper video, quote unquote, in the future of this very topic. I just wanted to introduce to you guys the potential questions that I will be proposing on that video, and hopefully we can make sense and theorize of what the hell visions are. I'll be real with you, like a voice line about them just kind of threw off a lot of people when they found out that the gods don't give the visions. But nevertheless, my name is Aster, and thank you for chilling with me.